Hey, my friends. This video is for anybody, especially the ladies, who are using LOA to manifest their SP. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then move on. This video is not for you. If you do know what I'm talking about and you're playing around with some of this stuff, listen in because there's some things you need to know about it. I got really fascinated with all of this stuff a few years ago. There are some things that I think are really important to know that can save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration and a lot of heartache and actually get you to where you want to be a whole lot quicker. Um, so, you know, when I was into this stuff, I was, like trying to like recover from a very painful betrayal from a just very intense relationship, and I'd had a rebound, and I was a hot mess, and but I was also like going to all sorts of therapies and looking at relationship stuff, and then I ended up like in this rabbit hole, right? That I'm sure it's come up for you. This rabbit hole of these dating coaches and law of attraction experts, and these like quick tips to like manifest this person back into your life, and all these little behavioral hacks to do to like get them to like you more. What I've gathered from this stuff is that a lot of the behaviors that these coaches are trying to get you to do, um, that's something that's going to be natural if you already are in a secure and more healed state. However, if you feel like you're hemorrhaging and you can't stop thinking about this person, um, then these behavioral tricks aren't going to work because they do not have the foundation of like you being like stable in yourself and in a good way. Okay. And so I want to explain a little bit about how that works and unfolds. So a lot of some of these coaches are like just lean back, or like don't reach out, and like don't text first, don't do this, but do that, and blah 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 blah, and you know um it would it can be kind of wild. It's like, oh, there's a lot of these rules, but here's the thing, like if your brain is constantly thinking like, oh, should I? And then you don't, and then you're like, oh, should, but it's like always on your mind, like, should I reach out to this person? Or like, if I respond to them in this way, like, am I gonna seem cool enough? Or I mean, it's, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's a whole shit show, and you just turn into this anxious ball of nerves anytime you want to reach out to somebody that you care about and that you want in your life, and you're always worried that like, oh, if I reach out to them, like, are they gonna pull back, or are they gonna like, is it gonna like irritate them, or am I gonna lose them again, or if and you're just constantly questioning all of this stuff, right, and trying to do the right technique, or if I you know say in my head 5,000 times that this person wants to marry me, then that's going to happen. It's exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about. Um, my biggest advice would be to just like chill out on that. It's not going to get you anywhere. Um, However, the law of attraction stuff that is helpful are the things that are about your self concept, right? So if you've been like, usually, I mean, even if you've just been dumped, or especially if you've been in an abusive relationship, especially a narcissistically abusive relationship where your self concept was totally crushed. um, Usually, I mean, in those situations, a person gets you to believe really bad things about yourself that aren't true. And so, what you need to focus on are affirmations of like, I am lovable, I am a beautiful person, I have a good heart, like, I am capable, I am strong, like, I'm worthy of love, I am a valuable being, like, I'm intelligent, I care about people. Anything that that person dismantled in you, or anything that has come up, um, like, in any sort of breakup, right? It has this feeling very undesirable. And so, letting yourself know, like, I am desirable, I am desirable. And yeah, it feels like you're lying to yourself at first, but over time, rebuilding those beliefs will actually get you into a state of knowing these things about yourself and actually embodying them. So someone who like really believes these things about themselves, that they're worthy of love, that they are valuable, that they're desirable, like isn't going to be sitting at home all day watching every YouTube video they can find to try to manifest their specific person. Sorry. I'm saying this from experience, okay? So it's tough love and it's edgy, but if you want the real, I've got it for you here. So as we can laugh at this, okay? Hopefully you can too. Um, it's normal after a relationship to feel obsessed. So I'm not knocking that. Like, that's a big traumatic thing to our body, to our nervous systems. Something the person who was probably our best friend, closest to us, that we related to more than anybody else, is now gone, and that is incredibly disorienting. It's very traumatic, and our brains want to fix this problem at all costs as fast as possible, and so we ruminate a lot, right? Um, However, when I look back at any relationship, any person that I've ever become hooked like that on and felt that way about, I mean, now looking back, I can see like it was not a healthy thing, and there were aspects of trauma bonds there, and addiction. So like obsession is never actually a good sign. Like I said, it's normal. We all go through it, but it's not a good sign. If this person is behaving in a way that has you questioning what they're thinking about you, questioning how they're feeling, if it's like, well, he says this, but he does this, and he does this, but he says this, like any of that, like, girl, you're just so much better off, like, letting that go. And leaving room for someone else to come into your life, because if you keep, like, playing into that, you're actually just going to manifest the same thing, even if it's not that guy back, which you might for a minute, but like that doesn't change overnight. Like you'll end up like in that same kind of energy. So it's really crucial and vital to focus on yourself, and focus on what you believe about yourself. And like one of the things, if you're sitting here watching all these videos on manifesting somebody, like you're not putting the energy that you need to into your life. You're not enjoying your hobbies as much as you could be. You're just out there. You're like in somebody else's sphere, and you're not actually in your own body, right? Probably because it hurts, and that's normal. But getting out there and doing things that you love doing without this person attached to it. And I know it's hard at first, but just keep trying to do that, like as much and as quickly as possible. And you'll start to feel much better. Like you won't be siphoning so much energy out to this other person that obviously, like if they, it's true. Like if they wanted to be with you, they would. Like they would. I mean, a person can have like a million excuses and want to let you down easy. And listen, just because somebody doesn't like you or want to be with you, it has nothing to do with your value. Like nothing at all. And I know it feels like that, but it's not about you. Like it's about this person, maybe their preferences, maybe like their compatibility stuff. And it actually has no reflection whatsoever on who you are as a person, your value, your ability to be loved. So I know that those voices are the ones that like go around and around in our heads, but please just, when you hear those, be like, shut up. And I know you're not going to be able to do that for a while, and that's okay too. But, just saying, like, be aware of that. Okay, and here's the catch-22 about this. Like, the more that you are thinking about that other person, the less energy you have for yourself, right? You're energetically leaking out, and you're not filling yourself. You're like, if you're constantly worrying about what someone's thinking about you, you're feeling like shit about yourself. But if you're like, well, this person can think whatever they want about me, like I know who I am, like I'm all of these wonderful things that I see in myself, like you'll radiate that. And that's what makes you magnetic. Like that's what actually makes you attractive. So, like trying to manifest somebody into your life or back into your life actually is repelling, right? Like it's going to make it so much harder. So, like, why bother? Like, why waste all this energy watching videos like this? I mean, at least this one's going to tell you the truth, right? But yeah, it's really just a waste of time. Like you want to focus on like there are coaches out there who do focus on like self concept, and that's who you want to be working with. I really love Dylan James, and I appreciate Shelley Bullard's work as well. I appreciate how they both focus on self love, you know, and that's like the main thing there. So thank you to you two for helping me along the way. Um, you know, I would just say like if if this specific person is ignoring you, then they're probably not the one for you. Um, you know, I spent about 3 years single, and it was hard, but oh my God, it was so good. Because once you feel really good in yourself, then you're not gonna put up with any bullshit. Like no, you know, no man, no dick is gonna be worth losing your sense of self and your peace of mind over. Like it's just not. And it's such an empowering feeling, and that is hot. Like that's attractive. And what's gonna happen from that place is you'll attract a really good man. And it's not about one thing I want to say about law of attraction, it's not necessarily what you are attracting in. Like there is that. Like if you are like a doormat, if you do have like a lot of insecurities that are still very active and prevalent in the way you behave and show up, narcissistic and advantageous people are attracted to that. So you will naturally attract that in. Um, if you have a good sense of self and are well boundaried and will take no shit, you know, you still be a very loving, beautiful person, but you know, if like someone senses they're not going to take any shit, then like those kinds of people, they're not, they won't bother. They can feel it. You will intimidate them. Um, and also, you will be only attracted to people who you can tell are in integrity. Like if you're feeling confident about yourself, your standards are going to be way up here, which they should be. That's good. Don't let anybody tell you to drop your standards, because you want, like, if you really love and respect yourself, you're going to want someone who's going to really love and respect you and be consistent with you, be loving to you, like treat you really well. And you'll be attracted to only those people. So if you don't really believe that about yourself, that you do deserve that or you are worthy of that, then you are going to be attracted to people who are more manipulative or like fuckboys or game players, people like that. So it goes both ways, right? Um, it's not just what you're attracting, it's what you're attracted to. So, like, what you believe about yourself is what you're attracted to. Like, if I believe I'm not worth spending any time with, like, I'm gonna go right to the guy that's gonna make sure that that is enforced in my system. And if I believe that, like, you know, yeah, I'm worthy of a really beautiful, consistent, solid, grounded, sweet love, then I'm only going to be attracted to the guy who's going to provide that for me. And I have that now in my life, and it's a really beautiful thing. And really, all I had to do was focus on the beliefs that I had about myself to make that shift. Like anything I ever did about, you know, like focused on another person, like just was a total, utter waste of time. I do not recommend that. Focus on you, honey. Um, and then honestly, at that point, once you feel more confident and secure and have like a higher level of self-respect, you'll probably look back about this person that you were, you know, so like wanting to manifest. You'd be like, oh, thank God. Thank God that's in the past, right? Um, you know it. You know what I'm talking about. You might be like doing some cognitive dissonance in there, and that's okay, but you know. Um, Okay, the last thing that I'm going to say about this is if you are caught on a train of listening to all of these law of attraction videos, trying to manifest this person, and you're noticing an obsession, and you're noticing this longing, and there's these big feelings running through your body, there's like, oh, you can't stop thinking about them, and like your heart feels like it's falling out of your chest, and there's all this pressure, and it's all around this person. Um, Society teaches us that that's love, that indicates we have big love for somebody, and that person's our soulmate, and we're like supposed to be with them, and they're a twin flame, blah, blah, blah. What I've learned through a lot of research is that that is actually indicative of something else, and it's not as cute. And when I share it with you, it's probably going to help you a lot, and it helped me so much. And that is when you have those feelings of like overwhelming obsession and deep longing like that. That is indicative of longing and obsession, and it doesn't actually equal love. What's going on is that you have chemicals getting dumped into your brain because of certain circumstances and the way our nervous system works around them. So when someone is consistent, which is the pillar, one of the main pillars of a secure relationship, like it's not going to trigger those butterflies or that intensity or that anxiety. It's going to feel a little boring, like a therapist was right about that. Like it doesn't cause obsession. So what causes obsession is when we're confused about something, when there's a problem, when something is this way or it's this way, and we can't tell what we're looking at. That the mind wants to sort out the problem so bad that it can't stop thinking about it. Like if you think of anybody in your life that your brain was just constantly ruminating on, it's usually the people who didn't treat you well. Like really think about this. Like the people who are solid and good in your life, like do you obsess about them? I mean, you might think fondly of them occasionally and get like warm fuzzies in your heart, but like you now think about anyone who's ever like abused you or was like hard to you or you had a hard time with or like felt like a threat, what did your brain do then? And there was probably like your mind was probably way more consumed with trying to figure out how to navigate that kind of relationship, whether it's like work, friends, family, whatever. But just notice that the brain, like that's a cortisol thing. The brain will respond to a problem. The other thing is intermittent reinforcement. So like the consistency, you don't get this, but when someone's inconsistent, you end up with dopamine, which is a highly addictive chemical. This is called the slot machine effect, right? Where if, every time you approach somebody and, you get a response, like a healthy response, then, it doesn't trigger this. But if you're constantly sitting there like, oh, if I do this, like maybe they'll do that, or if I do this, maybe they'll do that. If someone's blowing hot and cold on you, what that does is that it triggers the dopamine reward system in the brain to like go full throttle on it. So they did these studies on rats and pigeons where they had these little treat dispensers, and they would like peck or like push the button to get a treat. And if the dispenser always produced a treat, then they would just be like, oh, okay, cool, I want a treat, I'm going to do it, and just go about my day and come back whenever they wanted a treat, no big deal. If the dispenser never produced a treat, then they just would lose interest right away. But if it would do it like 50% of the time, these animals would become obsessed, like a person at a slot machine in Vegas, just like going for it. Going, actually, it's this way. I don't play slot machines, but yeah, they would just go for it obsessively because dopamine gets released in your brain when you are expecting a reward. And when you're questioning if you're going to get a reward, if you're going to get that love, if you're going to get that connection, your brain releases dopamine. It's not about when you do actually get it, it's like in the anticipation. So when someone, and they found that like between 30 to 70% of the time, if that's when the treat would get dispensed, then that would cause the highest amount of obsession in these animals. So we are hardwired to become like obsessed when something is inconsistent in our lives. And so I invite you to think about that and the implications of that. And, one of the hardest but most beautiful things that happened in my whole process of healing was reframing what obsession and what longing was, because I had always equated those feelings as love. Like it was the same thing, like my dad wasn't around. I had this longing, for my caregivers. And so, like, boom, like a child's mind, they equate that with love. And it's so common in society and in our media, like everyone's like, oh, I'm so heartache. That must mean that I'm so in love with this person, and you just miss that person. Like that person's not around, and you're sad about it. Like that doesn't actually mean love, like real love. And it's kind of a hard one to swallow, but it's such a liberating truth when we do realize that these painful emotions, like this. I mean, it sucks. Like really, like I mean, be honest with me. Do you actually enjoy sitting there feeling like your heart is bleeding out over a person? Do you really enjoy spending time, looking at all of these videos on manifesting your specific person? Like, is this actually fun for you? Like, I mean, it might be entertaining, and there might be a part of it that might make you feel more alive, because it definitely gets the it definitely gets the chemicals going in your body. It makes you feel a lot. Um, but yeah, is it really what you want to spend your time doing? Like, mm. So my biggest secret, like the big reveal of this whole video, is that um, the best way to manifest your specific person is by stopping. Like, just stop trying to manifest your specific person, and yeah, you'll get the person that's right for you. Um, Thank you for listening to this rant. I'll probably talk about this more. I just wanted to come on here and share a friendly discussion about this topic. Yeah, because it's a wild one, and yeah, it's cute. Like I know that there could be a level of embarrassment around it, and and also like yeah, if you love somebody and give it a try. The thing is, you're gonna keep trying. Like you're gonna keep doing your things as long as you need to do them, and you'll figure out whatever you're gonna figure out. And maybe these techniques work for you. Like there's no one way for every person. We all have our different journeys. But like if you are a person who's been doing this, and there's a part of you that feels like drained by it, then that's fine, baby. Like you could just give it up, and you'll be better off for it. You do you. Have fun with your life. Like go explore new things, and ultimately, you are your specific person. You're the one, and then everything else falls into place after that. Okay. Thank you for listening, and I hope this was enjoyable for you. If you have any comments about it, feel free to drop them below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.